Hello, you're listening to the Servant of God, Pastor Bangi.
We're still looking at the scriptural rules for raising godly children. Now, we've been talking about our third point, which is teach them. And what do we teach the children? That's what we've been looking at. First, we teach them about the origin of all things, which is God himself. Number two, we talk about Christ, the image of the invisible God. Then we'll talk about divine purpose, both for all things and especially for their own lives. And number four, we talked about doing righteousness and justice. And then we're on the fifth one, which is about faithfulness and diligence. I didn't talk about diligence last time, but I intended to add it. And I was explaining that children must be taught to be faithful, to be dependable. That's the thing. One of the things I found about people in life, is people that you can't depend on. They are very painful to relate with. Now, I'm not talking about there's what they call halo slinging. You just make up your mind, somebody will do something. No, I'm talking about somebody that you say, do this, and you can't count on the person to do it. Teach your children never to be like that. The people like, no, you tell them, guard this place. They say, okay. Then they are hungry. They leave the place unguarded and they will go away. You get there, nobody's there manning the gate. What happens is I was hungry. I went to look for something to eat. Now, that is very terrible, okay? A soldier never behaves like that. They stay at their duty post. As a soldier of Christ, that must never be an excuse you give. And another thing you must teach them is not to be lazy. No matter how rich you are, please teach your children to work in the house. Let them clean the house, even though you can hire a cleaner. You don't want to raise children who believe that everything is done by a hired hand. They must be able to do domestic chores, clear the compound, sweep the house. Diligence is an important thing you must inculcate into children from the time they are young. It is not a sign of love that you don't let them work in the house. It is not. It is not a sign of affluence that they don't do hard labor. No matter how rich you are, let those young boys wash the car. It is not because you can't hire a servant to do it. There's something my wife used to say those days. He said, I can't be training other people while I leave my own children untrained. So that from the time they are young, all the girl and the boys, they all learn to cook. They all learn to take care of the house. They clean the kitchen. They make the bed, vacuum their rooms, do everything. Even when I have somebody in the house doing all of these things, you don't touch the children's rooms. If I employ you in the house, come and clean the common spaces, take care of the sitting room, take care of outside. But the children, they arrange their own rooms. They vacuum their own bed. They wash their own clothes. I don't care how rich you are. Teach these children to be diligent. They can be people that nobody can depend upon. And you don't want to have a reputation that your children are lazy. It's not good. I've seen it before. Parents who raise children to be lazy. Brethren, it is not right. Diligence is one of the attributes of godliness. The people must be hardworking. And one thing you must do is teach your children to be hardworking. So that's our point number 5, faithfulness and diligence. Remember I said we can't go into all the details about this, just to tell us what we must be careful to teach them concerning. Number 6, now you are going to teach your children how to love and respect people. How to love people and respect people, whether they are young or old. It's very important. Now, whether you're a rich person or not, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. That's what Solomon told us. A lot of people who are proud, one of the things they don't respect people. If they feel they are richer, they are bigger, they are senior to people, they talk to them rudely, and it's not good. Teach your children to respect everybody. Show respect. Don't call your elder by the first name just because your dad is calling the person by the first name. One of the things I did those days, my wife and I used to do it when they were in primary school. When we're discussing maybe their teachers, the word auntie and uncle always goes with it so that they will not mistakenly call the person what you have been calling them at home. Teach your children to respect people. It's very important. And to love. What does it mean to love? To always be willing to help. They're in school, they should volunteer. They should help their colleagues, help people around. Volunteer to help. It's one thing. That's the meaning of love. Love is very practical. Love is not emotional. To love is to share what they have. They have food in school. They have a classmate that didn't come with food. Offer to share what you have. Now, teach them these things. They go to church. Give them money to give. Now, let me just take a moment here and talk about this. Now, remember, these rules, how you apply them to different ages will differ. But please start early and keep adjusting them as they grow until they leave your house. These are instructions you have to keep giving. Now, there's also a habit a lot of people have, and I want to just quickly tell us it's a bad habit, but we don't know it. We mean well. So if we're going to church, we had this habit those days, most of us, then we are giving children money to give as offering. You want to teach them how to give offerings, so you give them small money in church. So offering time, small money is given to children to go and put in the offering basket. You know what people are doing when they do that? They are teaching the children that the work of God is done with change, and they don't know it. Do you know why? These same children, they will see you go to the mall. They pack their biscuits, their ice cream, their chocolates, and there are some things that they need, and they watch you pay. You pay with your card, you pay with cash, and it's a lot of money. They watch you buy fuel. You give them money sometimes, it's their birthday. You now turn around and give them change to put in church. Now, unconsciously, what you've told them is that giving to God is done with change. And you didn't have to say anything. Now, maybe you're a generous person, you are giving the large sums, but they are not aware. So this was what my wife and I did to my children. I said, all right, when they are going to church, we will call the oldest one, put a good size money in an envelope, while all of them watched, and say, when you get to church, give to your uncle. Tell him it's offering for you and your siblings. Now, the idea, it was just deliberate. We didn't want to split the money into small sums. We made it sizable so that all of them will see that giving to God is done with a sizable amount of money. I will not give you money that is smaller than what you watch me use to pay for fuel or pay for in the mall when you are buying simple things like snacks and ice cream, and little toys. No. And my advice to parents today is do the same thing. When you want to give a large sum of money to the church, let your children be aware. When you want to give to the preaching of the gospel, let them be aware. Not because, of course, they are your children, you're not trying to show off, so the idea of let not your left hand know what your right hand is doing does not apply here. You are training children. This is how I give. Oh, I bought this car, it cost me so and so millions of naira. This time around, this church program, this evangelistic outreach is coming up. This is how many millions I want to give towards it. I can't give it at a go. I will break it bit by bit. Discuss it with them. Let them see you write a check, transfer money for the purposes of the things of the kingdom. That's part of training. So we're talking about how to love. Love is practical. That's what I'm making. Teach your children to love and to respect people. The seventh thing I want to mention that we should teach our children so we can raise them in godliness is how to honor people. Now, this is different from respect. Now, when I said respect now, it's for everybody, both young and old. But to honor people, we're talking about older people and people in authority. Please, when you want to sit down and be grumbling against government, don't let your children get involved. When you want to talk about the president in their presence, speak with honor. Don't just call his first name or his last name like people do on the streets. Please, it is not right, and teach your children not to do it. Teach them to honor people. Because you see a lot of young people, they gather behind, they think undermining authority is cool. And these things carry to, look, I talk to people at my 80 today. That's how they talk to about presidents and governors. They think it is fun to insult authority. And this is the interesting part. They started these things when we were young. Now they're in their 50s, some of them crossing to 60. They haven't stopped it. They are still talking. The Bible makes it clear. Don't insult the rulers of the people. You don't talk rudely about princely authorities just because you live in a democracy and people are allowed to say what they like. God expects you to show honor to whom honor is due. Teach them how to honor people, how to stand before the aged. Israel was taught, if you go and read Leviticus chapter 19, verse 32, it says, stand up in the presence of the elderly and show respect for the aged. Fear your God, I am the Lord. That is, the way you treat the elderly is a sign of the fear that you have for God. So teach your children how to show honor to people, how to respect their elders. Now, even teach them, for example, it's their mother's birthday, you fathers. Teach them how to buy gifts for their mother on her birthday. It's their father's birthday, mother, give them money. Say, go and buy something for your father on his birthday. Teach them the kind of speech to make to honor their parents. The Bible says, honor your father and your mother. And later on, we're going to talk about things you don't do. And one of them we'll talk about is don't talk negatively about their mother in their presence. Don't run down their father in their presence. What you do in that process is that you undermine their ability to yield to that authority. Teach your children to respect authority. Teach them to respect order in the society. These are things that God expects us to have, all right, as a rule for these children. And the next thing we're going to talk about in this matter of honor is that, especially when it comes to authority, we're going to go on into talking about the matter of gratitude, because that's one problem people have, again, a lot of times. You find a lot of young people who are not grateful about life. They are raised up to complain and to demand more from life than they are giving to it. And in that process, they disobey God, they break the rules of God because they have not been raised in true godliness.
We trust you are blessed by that short teaching. For more messages, books, and other materials, please visit our website pastor.ng. Don't forget to share these resources with others. God bless you.